Hello everyone, welcome to the When It Worked podcast. You're with your host Julian Leahy. Today I'm joined by the fantastic Marty Fawn-Key. Welcome to the show, Marty.
Hey, thanks for having me on today. I'm really excited to be here.
All right, we're going to play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Marty, and you've got 3 lifelines. So if you're not sure, make sure you use your lifelines. You can do a 50-50 split, 30 seconds to Google it, or ask me for a hint. Are you ready?
Okay, good to know. I'm ready.
All right, let's go. First question for Marty. Anyone who has read Wuthering Heights should know that the word wuthering means what? Lonely, mysterious, windy, or dark?
Man, you know, it's funny. That is on my reading list. I read over 100 books last year, and that one's on my list, and I didn't make it to it yet. So
That would have helped.
it would have helped. I would have just known. I'm going to have to probably take a lifeline on this one. Let's see, what would be the best one to do? Why don't you give me a hint?
Have you got any idea? What if you could pick 2, which would you pick?
If I had to pick 2, I would probably pick A or B.
Okay.
Lonely or mysterious.
All right. So I'll give you a clue. It also starts with a W.
Wow. Can I figure it out from there? All right. Well, apparently I'll go with C, windy. Final
Windy
answer.
is correct. 1 lifeline
Oh,
down.
I'm not starting off great here.
It was an obscure question. If you don't know, it's a English word that is not commonly used in England even. All right, next question for Marty. Appearing at the end of many country names, the suffix "stan" originates from what language? Turkish, Persian, Sanskrit, or Arabic? These are tough.
Yeah. So thinking about Pakistan, Afghanistan,
Yeah.
Kurdistan. So it's probably not Persian. Sanskrit would lean towards. It's got to be Arabic or Turkish.
Yeah.
It's got to be Turkish. Maybe from the Ottoman.
Oh. Well, you want to do a 50-50 split? Maybe they'll get easier. You might need to.
Yeah, do a 50-50.
All right, let's do a 50-50. Turkish and Persian.
All right, I'm going to go with A, Turkish.
All right, now, if you get this wrong, there's no shame in your game because it's a very tough question.
Okay.
It was actually Persian, not Turkish.
Persian.
So, but I liked your
Oh,
logic
my
because the Ottoman Empire was huge and very surprised that you did not get that one correct. But thanks for playing. Let's have a round of applause for Marty Fawn-Key. All right, they're applauding, trust me.
Yeah, I can tell. Courtesy clap.
Golf
courtesy
claps.
clap.
Yep. All right, Marty, now tell us about Westbound Road. What is this?
Yeah.
This is about getting people's businesses ready to sell. Is that correct?
It is, and that's really the message that I'm here to talk about is for business owners, the importance of preparing your business to sell, even if you don't think you want to sell it. We have a lot of times where a business owner will call us and say, "Hey, I want to sell my business," and we ask them, "Well, when would you like to do that?" And they say, "Today." And they are completely unprepared to sell that business. And the reality is it takes about 3 years to fully prepare a business for sale properly. And so we always talk to business owners and tell them, like, it's really important that you call us 3 years before you plan to sell. And because there's a lot of things you have to do to get your financials in order, your operations in order, many other things. The other reason that we really talk about always having your business ready to sell, even if you never sell it, is because a couple of things. Number one is if you have your business ready to sell, meaning your financials are clean, you have strong operations, you have strong team communication, you have a business operating system installed. And by operating system, I don't mean a software system. I mean an operating system like EOS or Gazelles or something along those lines. If you have all those things in place, then your business is going to be so much more of a joy to operate. I always liken it to people who they live in a house and they're thinking about selling their house, and they've lived there 7, 8 years maybe. And they think about putting their house up for sale, and they call in a real estate broker and they say, we want to put our house up for sale. What should we do? And they do things to stage their house, right? They might freshen up some paint and plant some landscaping, and even bake chocolate chip cookies when the open house is happening, so it smells amazing. It's called staging. And there are ways to stage a business just like you stage your house. But here's something that's funny that happens with houses. Oftentimes, people think they're going to sell their house, and then they do all the things needed to stage it and get it ready for a potential buyer, and kind of look at it with that critical eye, fix those little things that were temporary fixes and they need to be permanent fixes, etc. And then they decide, well, this house isn't so bad, I think I'll stay. And the same thing can happen with a business. If you do all of the things necessary to make your business ready to sell, you as an owner are going to be a much happier owner. It's going to be running smoother. You're going to be making more profit and working less hard. And so even if you never plan to sell, having your business ready to sell is a very, very good thing indeed. So I'm kind of looking to talk to business owners about that and help them understand and just start their wheels turning a little bit about, why they might think about getting their business ready for selling.
And it seems like a lot of problems could be solved by getting the operating system in there and getting what are those types of software and what do they do for businesses, which I guess you would call them a requirement to sell the business. Why are they important?
Well, again, an operating system is not necessarily a software. It's really more of a structure and an operational guideline. So it involves creating.
You did mention a couple of softwares, though, didn't you?
Well, they're not softwares.
Oh, okay.
They're systems. So don't let the word operating system make you think computer operating system.
Okay.
It's an operating system again, it's an overall system that may include meeting rhythms, dashboards, standard operating procedure processes, documentation, even how to hire, it structures how to handle raises with your team, how to handle compensation. So a business operating system is not a software as much as it is a tool set that allows you to run your business much more smoothly and effectively and efficiently.
And do you need to be trained in that? Is that what one of the things you do is you help people implement one of these operating systems?
We don't necessarily. We work with a number of third parties who are trained integrators for all of the operating systems, whether it be Gazelle, ZOS, Scalable, et cetera. What we do is really we come in and look at the holistic picture of the business altogether, and we find all of the ways to make the business run better and smoother. The operating system's one key portion of it. The financials are another key portion of it. A lot of business owners, their financials are a mess. They're kind of running by the seat of their pants. They aren't sure how much money they actually are making. Oftentimes it's shocking. And so helping get their financials in order and making them clean and organized and is another area that we look at. We look at really all aspects of the business. So an operating system is one piece, but there's a lot of other pieces. We also look at how to extract the current owner from the day-to-day operations of the business itself. So if an owner is involved in a business, 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and they're key to the business operation. So let's talk about let's say a plumber. Okay. If you have a plumber who is out in the field 60 hours a week and he wants to sell his business, well, it's an unsellable business. Why? Because you're basically, if you were going to buy that business, who's going to do the work? Well, the plumber's not coming with it because he's selling it. So either you as a plumber have to buy the business, which why would you? You just go start your own. Or you have to hire somebody to run that business as a plumber. And so it's a really unsellable business. But if you're a plumber who has that expertise to scale your business a little bit, and you can grow it and say hire 3 plumbers, and those 3 plumbers are out in the field and you are managing that process, again, using a good solid business operating system to manage it, and you aren't critical to the business. If you can walk away as a business owner, if you can walk away and go fishing a couple times a week, that's the kind of business that's sellable. That's the kind of business that others are looking to acquire and buy. So those are the kind of things we work on, is helping all facets of the business to be able to be sellable. And that's one of the things we really focus on is if you as the owner are integral to the business, if the business collapses without you, then you don't have a business to sell. You only have yourself to sell. And that's not going to work because nobody's going to buy that.
So, do you ever help people that are like the plumber example, or do you look for other businesses that are a little bit easier to sort of duplicate and get staff to delegate, tasks to, or do you actually take those single person businesses and help them with that transformation process, or do they need to do that before they could even approach you?
We can help any size business to grow and scale to where they need to be. It does help if they've already kind of started the process. I'll give you an example. Again, back in the trades. Now it's funny because only about 20% of our business is in the trades, and about 80% is in digital stuff like agencies, e-commerce, SaaS. But the trades is easier for people to understand, so I use those as the example. So we had an air conditioning company who he had a couple of trucks, he had a couple of guys. They're located in Texas, and they were doing great numbers in the summertime when it's 110 degrees in Texas. But during the wintertime, they were sitting around twiddling their thumbs because nobody was calling. So he contacted us and said, how can we really scale and grow this business? Well, what we did is we helped that guy acquire some other businesses that were ancillary. So the first thing we looked at was an electrician company, because a lot of the work that AC companies do when they're installing air conditioning and things like that, they've got to wait for the electricians to run power lines and whatnot, oftentimes so they can plug in all the AC. So instead of waiting for somebody else to come and handle the electrical part of the AC system, they acquired an electrical company themselves so they can do the work themselves and bring that work in-house. Next, we found a pest control company, a pool cleaning company, and a plumbing company. So now it's a whole house. Everything you'd ever need for your house is all under one roof. Okay. So the value of that company goes up substantially because now it has income coming in year round, and it's much more stable. And he was able to take that business from basically a 3-person business to about a 15-person business. And it's doing about 7 times the revenue. But here's the interesting thing is that a business that is a standalone business that's seasonal, like his air conditioning business, the value of that business, if somebody was to buy it, was maybe 2.5 to 3.5 times its profit. They call that a multiple. So in a 2.5 to 3.5 times multiple would have been the value of that business if somebody came in and bought it. Here's what's really cool is that by doing that with the business and creating year-round services and then putting its customers on a monthly subscription to come, every month they're going to come and change the furnace filter, clean the pool, spray for bugs, do all the things. They're coming there every month and it's automatically billed on their credit card. You take the value of that business now is now worth anywhere from 5 to 7 times profit. So not only does the revenue increase, but the efficiencies increase, but the value multiple of that business increases substantially as well. Doing the exact same revenue, if you have automatically recurring revenue, the profits from that are worth 5 to 7 times the number versus 2.5 to 3.5 times. So it's a huge, huge opportunity, and you can do that with almost any business.
And do you find that most people, once they go through that process of, making their business sellable, do they end up following through? How many of them go, actually, this is good now, I'm going to stay?
Yeah, that actually does happen quite a bit. We've worked with a number of clients who have contacted us and I want to get my business ready for sale. We do a lot of things to help them. And then they look around and go, well, shoot, I went from making $200,000 a year in my pocket and working 50 hours a week to making $400,000 a year. And I'm only working 20 hours a week. I think I'll keep the business. So it does happen quite a bit.
Awesome. And you also help people acquire businesses.
We do.
And what are some of the things that people come to you with, and how do you educate them and show them what they need to do? If they've got a business, they say, look, I want to buy something. I mean, how do you help them?
Yeah. So we work with a number of different kind of buyers. So the one kind of buyer we work with is the case I just gave you, which is called the strategic acquisition buyer. It's a business owner who already has a well-run operating business, and they're looking to grow and scale their business through acquisition. That's our number one most common kind of client that we work with. So if you're a business owner and you're like, hey, maybe if I could expand my business through acquisition, it's a lot safer. We talk about ways to double your business without having to sell more stuff. That's a great way to do it. If you're doing $1 million a year now and you want to do $2 million a year, you either have to sell twice as much products or services, or you can just go buy another business that's doing $1 million and bolt it onto your business, and poof, you're doing twice as much revenue. And the business you're buying has probably been in business for several years. The customer base is strong, the revenue base is strong, so your risk is actually much lower to buy a business than it is to try and market or sell your way to growth, because marketing doesn't always work. Selling, you can hire salespeople and they don't work out. It's actually pretty high risk to try and grow rapidly through just trying to sell more stuff than it is to just acquire. And the cool thing is that many people think, oh, if I wanted to go buy $1 million business, I'm going to have $1 million to do that. Therefore, I can't do it. And that's furthest from the truth. The reality is you can often acquire $1 million business for as little as 10% down. And in the United States, depending on the circumstances, we actually can do that with not one penny out of your pocket from the business standpoint, using what we call an expansion loan. So you could go buy that $1 million business, not spend one penny out of your pocket, and all of that revenue and all that profit, boom, becomes yours. So that's our key component we're usually looking for, is business owners who have an existing business and they're looking to grow through acquisition, through strategic acquisition. The next thing we're seeing a lot of lately is what we're calling the corporate refugee. So a lot of people are losing their jobs right now. Tech, in the tech sector, the retail sector, you name it, there's a whole lot of layoffs happening. And it's really impacting a lot of people. So we're getting flooded with potential buyers who are calling us saying, look, I either just got laid off or I'm worried about getting laid off. I'm tired of the corporate rat race. I'm tired of making money for somebody else. And I want to control my own destiny, and I want to own my own business. Well, great. We can help with that. We have ways of helping them fund and finance deals and acquire a business. So we've had many people who have had a corporate job. They're making $100,000 a year and they're working 50 hours a week, and they never know the next day if they're going to have a job or not. When we'll help them acquire a business, and through very little money out of their own pocket, because we can help with financing through borrowing against their retirement savings, borrowing against their home equity. There's SBA programs, lots of other. We have over 225 different ways of funding and acquisition. And so they buy that business, they're operating it, and now they're making $200,000 a year. They might still be working 50 hours a week, or they might not be working at all because they bought a business that's already fully operational without any interference from the owner, and they're making more money with less risk, and they're a lot happier. So that's the second kind of buyer that we see quite a bit of.
And do you find that people are mostly buying businesses that they're familiar with, or are they looking for some sort of hot new business that's trending at the moment?
For the most part, we recommend you buy a business you're familiar with. If you buy a business you know nothing about, that's a pretty big risk. We'll see that happening we'll sometimes do that when we're doing expansion of existing businesses through strategic acquisition. But for first-time business buyers, we definitely recommend buy a business that you know inside and out already, the industry, you have the contacts, you have the expertise, and lower your risk. Later on, you can start to look at some different types of things, but we definitely recommend starting with what you know.
Awesome. And do you recommend people speak to accountants, or are you an accountant? Or
I'm not an accountant. So we are part of what we would consider a 3-person deal team. So a 3-person deal team would be us as advisors. So we're going to handle the strategy, the deals, the negotiating, putting together the right situation for you, whether you're a buyer or a seller. Once we have deals happening, then that's when you want your attorney involved. We do make sure all of our clients use a reputable attorney, and the right attorney, by the way. We help them make sure they get the right attorney. Sometimes people get the wrong attorney for acquisition deals, and it turns into a disaster. You don't want, your cousin who does, divorces to handle your business acquisitions. It just doesn't work. And then, yes, you absolutely want your accountant and tax planner involved, because there are huge tax advantages to business ownership that need to be looked at, and we definitely want your tax advisor / accountant. And if those are two different people, sometimes they are, sometimes they aren't, then you want them on your deal team as well.
Yeah, awesome. There's a lot of people out there that would be interested in this, both in terms of selling the business, but also buying a business. So if you want to have a chat to Marty's website, I've shown it a couple of times, Westbound Road, and people can hit you up. And what do they do to kick things off? Do they have a chat with you?
Yeah, we basically set up a consultation where we get to understand what your goals and needs are and what you're trying to accomplish, whether it's buying or selling. And we'll let you know whether or not we can help you. And we always try and send somebody, even if we can't help them in whatever their situation is. We always try and send them in a direction that will help them, even if we aren't the people that can do it. We'll at least give you some connections that will hopefully can help you out, whichever one you're trying to accomplish.
Awesome. Well, I get the impression that you know what you're talking about, Marty, and that's a bonus. So
that's the impression I'm trying to convey. So that works out well, Julian.
That's half the battle. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Marty. That was very interesting to me and hopefully to the viewers. I'm going to wrap things up here. Thanks for listening and watching, everyone. See you next time. Bye.